Right then, hi everyone. I thought it was about time I did another room tour. I've been promising one for ages and haven't really got around to it. So I just had a bit of a tidy up and I'll do a room tour. This is mainly about looking at my PC setup. So not very much has changed with the consoles. So I'm just going to go over those very quickly again so you can see them. And actually what I did want to show you was I've picked up a couple of custom Xbox One controllers. There's the Halo 5, the Master Chief controller, which is really nice. I haven't actually used either of these. I don't know whether you're going to be able to see it, but it's a really nice dark green colour with gold accents and stuff. And then I've got the Titanfall controller as well. And then this, which I haven't even got out of the box, is the 20th anniversary PS4 controller. It's in the original style colours of the original PlayStation, which is quite cool. And actually, the controller I'm using at the moment is my main controller, is my my Elite controller. Let me just grab it from under the bench at the moment. It is a lot of money, and I personally think it's totally worthwhile. I really think this is a really nice controller. I haven't got used to the paddles, but apart from that, it's really good. So on the console front, we've still got our handhelds on the top. So Game Boy Advance SPs, 3 of those. One of them's a backlit one, and 2 of them are repairs. My PS Vita's there as well, and then actually the Wii gamepad's got up there. Zoom out a bit. We've got the Master System and the Mega Drive there, and then Nintendo consoles. We've got NES, SNES, N64, and then on the bottom row we've got Xbox 360, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, Fat PlayStation 2, Slim PlayStation 2, and then over on this side we've just got loads of remote controls and bits and pieces, and then there's current gen controllers and next retro controllers. GameCube, and then some cables and whatnot that are still waiting to be sorted out. This is a handmade cable for connecting a memory card to an original Xbox. Speaking of which, I finally got my original Xbox working. Excuse all the tangle of wires, but it's all been connected up to the FrameMeister and the SCART output box. And then obviously we've got the power and whatnot down there. And my Wii U in the corner, jammed in the corner there. Right, okay, so then I've got my 2 PCs here. All the specs are on my website. The cases are a 650D from Corsair and a Fractal Design Define R5, are they? The new one, which is really nice. I really like that case. All the specs for the PCs are up on the website. I'll include the details in a link in the description down below this video. Basically, the machine on the left is my gaming rig. It's got dual GTX 780s in it. It's getting a little bit long in the tooth now, and probably really needs upgrading, but I don't have the money at the moment. And then the machine on the right is my streaming PC. And what I'll do is I'll put a little bit of video at the end of this to show you how I've got everything hooked up. Let me just show you a quick few things over here. This is my new chair, which is a DX Racer. This is a racing series chair. The DX Racer chairs come in different series based on your build and height. So I'm about 6 foot, that's 180 centimeters and about 80 kilos. And the racing series fits me really nicely. I've got my green screen over there, which I picked up after Christmas, and that actually is on a system, so I can just unravel it when I need to stream. And then my PC, my monitor setup looks like this. So the monitor on the left is those 2 monitors on the left are my streaming PC, and then my gaming PC is on the right over there. I just wanted to show you a few windows that I have open while I'm streaming. So on this monitor I have Twitch alerts and my dashboard and I also have Twitter open. I tend to have Twitter open most of the time. It's a good way of like publicising your stream and whatnot. And then on this monitor, I basically run OBS Studio, so I'm running the latest version of OBS Studio, and then I use Ankbot R2 for my chat. And then obviously we've got the gaming PC over here. So if we start over in this corner, we've got the gaming PC. The monitor is a 1920 by 1080 LG IPS 234. I've got two of those. One is on the other side, and I really like the monitor. They're quite small, but I haven't got a lot of room, and they do the job. They're nice picture. I've got the camera of choice from streamers, which is the Logitech C920. It's a really good camera and well worth the investment. And then you can see just behind there, I've got two lights. They're little mini desk based ones, and they sit behind my monitors, throw light up onto the wall and reflect it at me, which works out quite well. So then on the gaming PC front, I've got my keyboard down here, which is a Ducky Shine 3, I think, and my Corsair mouse over there, which I really like. I'm still using an old Xbox controller for my PC, Xbox 360 controller. And then for audio gear, I've got my Behringer mixer over there. Lots of information about the configuration of that's coming up at the end. And over there on the left hand side, that little black box is my SteelSeries. This one over here, that's my SteelSeries wireless headset base station. So that's the gaming PC and the area around the gaming PC. And then if we come over here on the streaming PC, let's just zoom out a little bit. So I've got my big monitor here, which is 1440p. It's a Hasbro, one of the original Hasbros I really like. Had that for ages. And then over here, this is my microphone preamp. Actually, let's do the microphone first, shall we? So for my microphone, which is over here, I've got a Rode Procaster on a Rode arm. And I'll just give you a quick feel for how the audio chain works. So that goes using an XLR cable. This is a dynamic microphone. It uses an XLR cable, and that goes into the back of this over here, which is my microphone preamp, which is a Tube MP project. And then from the back of there, it goes into this complicated device at the bottom here. And that's a DBX266XS compressor. And then from the compressor, it goes over here into the old favourite, my Focusrite 2i2. And then from there, that goes into my streaming PC. Now, it's a complicated chain, really, overcomplicated as far as I feel, really. But I think that's mainly because I'm not an audio expert, but that's how my microphone gets into my streaming PC. And then what we got over here, we've got a set of desktop stereo speakers which I use while I'm streaming, my SteelSeries wireless headset, and obviously a cup of tea. So that's my configuration. That's what the room looks like nowadays. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut away from the actual room tour and show you some more of how I've got my dual streaming setup wired up. I think a lot of people find that dual streaming stuff is complicated, and hopefully I'm going to simplify it for you because it's not too difficult to do if that's what you want to do. One of the things I did want to explain to you though was to get video from my devices to my capture card, which is in my streaming PC. I use a couple of HDMI switches, and so basically all of the current consoles, basically anything that can deliver a signal via HDMI, plus the FrameMeister, which can obviously output over HDMI, they all go into a switch. And that switch has got two outputs. Which is just over here. One of the outputs just goes to the main TV in the room. Fantastic. That all works, no problem at all. Actually, it goes to the amplifier and then to the TV, but that's by the by. The other output comes into another switch, which I'll explain in my diagram of how I've got my stuff set up. So basically, all of my consoles go through one HDMI switch and they can either go to the telly, so I can just play like I'm playing on the sofa, or they can come into my streaming PC, and so I can record gameplay footage. Anyway, I think that's covered all of the stuff that's on my desk. Like I say, I don't have very much room. It's all kind of crammed in. I'm definitely not going to show you underneath the desk because it's an utter mess. One other thing I will show you though is this. This is the remote for something I found extremely useful, which is a mains four-way gang thing. And basically, none of the audio gear that I have, my compressor, the mic preamp, and the mixer, they don't have on-off buttons, and I hate having stuff plugged in all the time. And so I can just use this to switch things on and off. So if it works, you should be able to see that the mic preamps come on, and you'll definitely be able to see the lights on the mixer. Sorry, not on the mixer, on the compressor come on. So with that, I just say this is I haven't got this listed in my kit info. This is an Energini four-way gang, and basically I have everything plugged in there, and including my lights. So if I need lights halfway through a stream, I just press the button and the lights come on. So that is one really cool thing, and they don't cost very much money, about 20 quid or something, and I think this is great for audio equipment, because a lot of audio equipment assumes everything's plugged in all of the time, and I don't really like that at all. So there we go. Okay, I think that's everything. So I'm going to cut away now and try and explain how my dual streaming PC set up and how I've got that configured. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
Right then, this is my gaming PC, and it only has one specific configuration to allow it to work properly with my dual streaming setup. Okay, so all the games are installed on here, play all the games on here, and basically the HDMI cable goes to the capture card, and that's it. That's all I need. Okay, but what I have done is I've set up the sound card in a particular way. So if we right click on the speaker down here and do playback devices, you'll be able to see that I've got a lot of playback devices. Now that's just because Nvidia sets up audio when you have a card, and actually audio will go out of any port that supports audio on any of your cards. I have set my only active port, which is where my HDMI cable goes, as also my audio card. So any audio from this machine goes out over the HDMI cable. Okay, so that's the only specific configuration I've done on this machine. Apart from that, it's plugged into the network. It's download games, as you can see there, flipping hundreds of them linked on my desktop. The only thing I've had to change here that's not normal is this, and change the sound card. So rather than having it go out of the sound card, right down either one of these or this, it actually just goes out through the graphics card. So that means that the HDMI cable that's coming out of my games machine is providing video and audio. Right then, this is my streaming PC, and there's only a little bit of configuration that needs to happen here. Let me just show you my gameplay scene, which has got Twitch alerts and my Elgato and also my webcam. And basically, once you set up your scene, you'll get the audio here, right? And these are the only 3 audio channels I need. As I was explaining earlier, the game audio from my gaming PC comes in over my HDMI cable. And so that appears on this part of the mixer here where it says Elgato HD60 Pro. So that's my capture card. So I get audio across my capture card from the game. My microphone audio, as you can see, as I'm recording this, is on this channel here. And this just works because if I go into settings in OBS and audio, I've got my line in from my Scarlett 202 configured as my mic auxiliary audio device there. Okay, so that's the only setting that I need for that. And then if I want to play music on my stream, for instance, or something else, I also have my desktop audio, and that's configured. This is based on my streaming PC again. That's just configured through here, settings, audio again, and that's just my speakers. Okay, so all of the audio sources that play on my streaming PC, they're configured to go to the default device, which is the desktop speakers on this machine, and then they get consumed in OBS if and when I need them. Mostly I have this on mute because I don't like to broadcast the desktop audio, but when I'm on a break, for instance, I'll unmute this, open up the slider, and I'll play some music while I'm on my break. So that's all the configuration I have to do in OBS to get my dual streaming PC to work. Mostly it's all about setting up the scenes, setting up the sources, and making sure that all of the sources that you need, so Elgato is the only extra one I need, are included in the scene, and then you're good to go. Okay, right. The most complicated bit is how to cable this all together, and this is how I've done it. This is not necessarily the right way. This is just how I've got everything configured. It works for me. It works for the hardware that I had to start with, and it's allowed me to gradually add things on as I've gone along. These images are of GIMP, and I've got my layout configured in GIMP. So on the left hand side, we've got my gaming PC, my gaming monitor, and my consoles. This Xbox One here just represents all of the consoles. I've got my HDMI switch, and then on the right hand side I've got my streaming PC, including one of its monitors, just to show you what's going on there. These red lines are all basically HDMI connections, right? So we've got video and audio, as it happens, comes out of the gaming PC and goes into the switch. It then goes out of the switch into the gaming monitor. Job done. I can see my game on my gaming monitor. Fantastic. I've got all my consoles down here. They also have an HDMI cable that plugs into the switch. So if I switch the inputs, then that will appear on the gaming monitor or what have you. Then the other output from the HDMI switch goes into my capture card on my streaming PC. And obviously I've got a monitor cable from my streaming PC, just from its normal graphics card up to my monitor. That's a given, but I thought I should put it there just so you know it's there. Next, I'm going to show you how my microphone gets into my streaming PC. So let me just open up a couple of layers. Hang on a minute. Right, this is how my microphone is configured. So we've got my Procaster up in the top right here. That's connected via an XLR cable to my mic preamp. The mic preamp is connected by an XLR cable into my compressor, and the compressor is connected to my Focusrite 2i2 using an XLR cable. So that's XLR all the way through on that level. The last thing that we need to do here, and I'll explain why I've called this out separately in a minute, is to add the USB cable. So basically this sound card gets plugged into the back of my streaming PC via USB. That's it. Okay. Right then, now for the complicated bit. The only problem with this setup as it stands at the moment is I cannot hear the gameplay audio. Okay, I could preview that on XSplit or on OBS, no problem at all. You can do that, no worries. But there's a couple of reasons why I don't like to do that. One is if you're recording, you can't get everything on separate channels. There's a whole host of other reasons, but there we go. In theory, this is all you need to have a dual streaming setup, right? Obviously you need two PCs. An HDMI switch is always helpful, and as far as the microphone goes, you can have an XLR microphone. You don't need all this audio gear. You could just have it plugged into it. Excuse me. You can just have it plugged into an external sound card and then USB. If you've got a USB mic, your USB mic just goes straight in here, no problem at all. Okay, you then obviously have a headset or stereo speakers or what have you plugged into your streaming PC. You can hear everything if you use the preview options in either OBS or XSplit. What I've done, and this makes it really complicated, is I've got this audio equipment and these cables, right? Now we'll start from the source end, okay? So firstly, how do I get my gaming audio to my mixer? My gaming audio is actually delivered over HDMI. If you remember, my gaming PC is plugged in over HDMI and I've got the sound card set up so the audio goes across my HDMI cable. What this actually means is that audio reaches my monitor. Now my monitor has no speakers, but it does have an audio out jack. So I can just take my audio out from my monitor, run it across and into one of the inputs on my mixer. Bang. I've got my gaming audio, no problem at all. The same actually goes for the consoles. If for instance, I want to listen to them with my headphones on, I need to have that coming into my mixer. And so I've got a cable which runs from my amplifier where all the consoles are plugged in. Once again, audio's all going over HDMI. The audio cable then just comes out of the headphone jack on my amplifier and goes to my mixer. That's in there as well. And then simply from my sound card, my line out on my streaming PC, I have another lead which then goes into my mixer. My mixer has multiple outputs on it, and so there's one output which goes to my wireless headset and one that goes to my stereo speakers, and I can choose which one. So I can either have it on both or just on headphones. So if I'm listening late at night or early in the morning, I can just have the headphones on, no problem at all. So this is how I've done it. This, as I said at the beginning, this is not the normal way to do it. Normally you'd have everything coming into the mixer and then the mixer going USB into your streaming PC. But I happen to have done it this way because that's the way I had it configured originally. I added the mixer on at the end of my setup, as it were, and found that I didn't really want the features it delivered, but actually did find a use for it because I can have all my audio coming in here and then out to any of my output devices, which I really like. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions, please do ask them in the comments below. There's information, there's a link in the description to a blog post I wrote which includes all this diagram and the different interconnects. I hope that was helpful. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be back again soon. Cheers.